So let's eat. It's time to plant those vegetables. You know, a couple weeks ago, we had a caller who asked about that vegetable cleaner spray that you probably have seen on TV. And the best way to be growing good vegetables is not spraying a cleaner on them, but growing your own. And it's really easy once you get down to it, but don't like get freaked out if you have a bad year or you're new at this and it doesn't really work as well the first year, because it's a learning thing. It's always gets easier and easier, but the first year can be a bust. It's like, how come my broccoli doesn't look like broccoli, or when it's yellow flowers now? It takes a bit of time to learn what to do. And the good news is, you know, it's going to be about 27 degrees tonight, and that's cold. But there are cold crop vegetables that you can put out, but you still have to be anything below 40 degrees. You're going to still have to protect them. And when you protect plants, and I don't care if it's broccoli or if they're geraniums or if they're, you know, say impatiens. If you're protecting them from a cold and you want to cover them, you cover them with newspaper. Eric, do you know what a newspaper is? Oh, Eric left the control room. Anyway, for our millennial friends and younger, newspaper is something that you get and you used to read in the New York Times.
It's like black and white and red all over.
Boom, boom. I'm in Philadelphia, just following in. Boy, my arm's tired. So what you do is you cover it with newspaper or cloth. You don't use plastic. The only time you can use plastic is if you keep it from touching the plants. Okay? If it's 20 degrees ambient temperature outside and the plastic is touching the leaves of the plant, that plant is being touched by that 20 degrees. Cloth has insulating properties, and that it actually will protect those plants even if it's touching them. So you got to be a little gentle. Use a sheet. You know, you can use that's you know, don't tell your wife or your significant other that you're using there's good sheets outside. That you use, again, a cloth is easy, and then you got to remember, gently put it on, because these are little baby seedlings that you're trying to protect. I would keep it from getting wet, but I would leave it close by, because between now and what is the frost-free date, you know, for those rookies, frost-free means that there's no longer a threat of freezing after May 15th. Before May 15th, yes. And that there are all kinds of different old wives' tales that we'll get into as we get closer to then. But you're still going to have one eye out for the weather. And that's why farmers and garden center owners and people that have their vegetable gardens are always, you know, like frantic about the weather. What's the weather going to be tonight? What's it going to do tonight? How cold's it going to get? So again, you don't want to use plastic unless you have it suspended in a way that it's not touching the plant. So I prefer not to use it, because it usually, you know, when our temperatures, you know, March is a windy month, that we get a lot of wind and it can blow that plastic either off, away. It can just blow it into the plant. So preferably use cloth weighted down so that it's not going to get wind under it. You can use newspaper around each plant and cover each plant, and it has the same properties as the cloth does. It doesn't transfer the cold to the leaf if it's touching, but you've got to make sure that it's weighted down. You can't just kind of go out there and throw a sheet of newspaper over top of it and hope it's going to stay there all night, because it more than likely isn't. So what are you going to grow? What are you going to grow? Your lettuces can go in now. That, again, under 40 degrees, you're going to have to protect them. Now, the interesting thing is, like these next couple of days, we've got weather at night that's touching in the 20s and below freezing. But if you look forward, the forecast from here on out, maybe in the Poconos area and some of the western parts of Jersey and the colder areas of New York, that may be different forecasts. But here in the Philadelphia, Delaware Valley, which is basically, the western part of New Jersey, we're showing that we're going to have temperatures above freezing and really above 40 all week long. So you never can trust the weather forecast, so check it each day. But it looks like it's time to plant. It's time to plant. And we're talking about early cool season vegetables. And sometimes they call them cole crops, like Old King cole. Cole crops. So things like Brussels sprouts and cabbage, kale. So let's start off where we're talking about lettuce. Bib lettuce. Bib lettuce is a great plant. It grows ahead, so it's not like a leaf lettuce, and it's a real soft lettuce. It has doesn't have the crunch that an iceberg would have, but it's different. I like bib lettuce. Just like how romaine lettuce is different than iceberg. That bib lettuce is that it's a soft texture to it, and it grows in a flat head, and you use it the same way that you use other lettuces, and great for salads, and again, a little different texture. Leaf lettuce, which I had mentioned, leaf lettuce is something you can just keep growing, and you just take the leaves off of the bottom up as it grows. So it's not like a head where you wait for it to get a head, you take the head off, and then it's gone. Leaf lettuce, you can harvest it throughout the season. So leaf lettuce is very popular. Has a little bit more coarser texture to it, depending on the variety. Like mesclun mix. Mesclun mix is like that spring mix that you get at your farmer's market, grocery store. It's kind of like, it's hardy. I guess it's a good way to describe it. Aaron, hardy? Aaron shaking his head yes. So
I believe so.
Yeah. So it's just say roughage. Anyway, so that's the mesclun mix. And what they do is we're talking about plants now. We're not talking about seeds. We're talking about transplanting seedlings into the ground. And it comes in a mix. So it's not all the plants are going to look the same. They're going to look different. So there are different types of lettuces that are in the pack. So you'll have possibly four different types of lettuces that get packed together, and they're for that specific mix that you're looking for. And here, of course, iceberg. Iceberg, it's that head lettuce. You think of lettuce, you think iceberg. So it's going to take a while to mature, but it can go out now. And it's just, if you get iceberg lettuce from your own garden, or any of the lettuces, compared to what you get in the grocery store, it is completely different. The grocery store, should I say this, Aaron? I guess I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. Bloomer's Show. When they have outbreaks where it's like, the lettuce has been recalled because of salmonella, whatever is in it, and basically it's when they're being harvested in these gigantic fields. Those of you that have sensitive ears, hold your ears. But it's the outdoor toilet. And they don't have good hygiene, whatever. And that gets into the lettuce that's picked, and they have an outbreak where everybody's got stomach issues. And so they basically pull it from the shelf. You don't have that issue unless you use your outdoor toilet, but that's another show. Anyway, but again, it's knowing where your food comes from. I don't want to eat food that is from another country that we don't know. What's the deal? Is it sprayed with stuff that we wouldn't spray in the United States? Do we know that? Is it tested? How do we know? I want to know. You go organic into the organic section, you're pretty much safe. But again, you're doubling prices. So you got to decide. Take the investment, grow your own food. Grow your own food. So we mentioned briefly romaine. So all of the lettuces can be planted out now. Now, here we mentioned cold crops a little bit ago. Cabbage, I don't know. Those of you that really like cabbage, grow your cabbage. Green cabbage, red cabbage. There's Chinese cabbage. There's all different types of cabbages you can grow. And that sometimes, I mean, it's a lot of labor and time to harvest. But then again, it's the fun of doing it. You're not going to replace all of your groceries, your trips, unless you have a really big garden. Things like tomatoes that are so prolific that you'll be in zucchini squash and things like that are the warmer vegetables. Those you'll be inundated with. But whenever you're growing a head of lettuce or a head of cabbage, that's going to take a while, and that you're going to get one and done. You're only going to get that head. So keep that in mind. Kale. Kale can be harvested somewhat like leaf lettuce, but it generally is done by they grow the stalk. You don't let it go into flower, and that it's called bolting. That it forms a flower, and any of you that are somewhat proficient have seen it, where all of a sudden herbs and other plants will all of a sudden start forming flower stalks. You want to make sure that it's harvested before then. Broccoli, gosh, I'm going back to kale. There are so many different varieties of kale. There's probably, I think we carry at least 4 or 5. Broccoli. Do I need to grow orange cauliflower and purple broccoli? But if you want, you can. Or you just go with, Aaron, I'm going to ask you, do you ever eat the different color broccolis?
No.
No,
I'm just stuck with the green.
Yeah, me too. I'm a green thing. Give me green. Give me what it's supposed to taste like. I don't really know. Those of you out there, call the hotline.
I would imagine it tastes the same.
You would imagine, but we don't know.
Right.
All right, Bloomers Nation.
It's broccoli.
Bloomers Nation, call the hotline. Let us know if the different colored, whether it's broccoli or different color cauliflower, tastes different. Does the orange cauliflower taste like cheese? No, it doesn't. But anyway, I'm curious. Call the hotline, 609-685-1880. Let us know. Let us know. What do you think? What do you think when you eat different colored vegetables like purple broccoli or orange or green cauliflower? Does it taste different than the standard green or white? Call the hotline. Let us know what you think. Kohlrabi. Where's Julio when you need him? Kohlrabi is a root crop, and it is it's a different type of it's a green, almost cabbage-like leaf structure, but you're growing it like you would a beet. So it's kind of has that the bottom rooted part is what you're after. You can fry it. You can use it. Some people eat it raw. And it's got like a sweet cabbagey flavor. But you take that with bacon. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And collards. Collard greens are like the new superfood. It used to be kale. Now we're seeing more and more people growing collards. I had a customer who told me that the only way to have good collards is if you put a rusty nail in the water when you're cooking. Hey, if they taste good, you keep doing it. I guess you run out of rusty nails. But Aaron's shaking his head no. All right. Well, she did. I mean, that was her trick. I'm like, okay, that's back in.
That sounds like it'll send you to the hospital.
Well, this is North Jersey days. So this is like old school, down on the farm.
Pull a nail out of the barn or something?
Well, maybe, yeah.
Jesus.
Hopefully not out of the horses.
That sounds crazy.
Well, I don't know. Maybe they had a lot of rusty nails and it worked for, their grandmother and they kept it up.
For our collards, we just use like red wine vinegar.
Yeah.
And put it on it with some salt and
pepper and then and then just boil it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, because it just and
you don't really need much water either.
Just boil it till it's soft, right?
Right.
Yeah. Spinach, another superfood. Spinach, radishes. Not a huge fan, but those of you that are. But then again, you don't go to me with healthy foods. Beets. Beets are another superfood. You can grow your own beets rather than buy them in a jar that are gummies that are supposed to be good for you. Onions. Now, no onions from seed. No onions. Don't buy packs of started seedlings. It's a waste of money. Grow onion sets. They're the little baby onions that you put into the ground. Same thing. Garlic. You can do garlic. You don't need a lot of garlic, so garlic by seedling is good. And there's different types of chives too. There's also garlic chives. So, and a lot of different herbs that you can grow. But it's time to start going. Start to figure it out what you're going to do and what your garden's going to be like. Start putting some things in the ground. Prepare an area. Make sure that you're digging it in, putting in your bumper crop. A show we had a few weeks ago, we talked about seedling, like what to seed now and what to just seed directly in the ground. Go onto our podcast or onto our YouTube channel. Please, 5 stars if you go onto our podcast, please. We would appreciate it. We're honestly, we're not sure how many people are listening. We get numbers, and if you go onto YouTube, please ring that bell and subscribe.
And guys, don't forget you can listen on your smart speakers, smart devices, anywhere. I don't want to have your Alexa devices go crazy right now, but just speak to your Alexa and tell her, listen to Bloomers in the Garden, and the newest episode will pop up.
There you go.